Welcome to another Backyard Built video. Of course, starting with a shameless plug. Here are the stickers I have for sale. Here's the thing, guys. Think of the girl you like in your life, right? She's probably said, look, I like you a lot, but you don't have a Backyard Built sticker on your car, so I don't want to go out with you. Now you could solve that, and she'll be yours, and you could support me at the same time, and she's gonna love these stickers. All the girls, I can't tell you how many phone numbers I have on my card. It's crazy. So buy one and support me and the channel and all that stuff. So yeah, that's it. Anyways, on to the actual video. Well, most of my parts came in today from Battle Garage. And this is part of the Distributor relocation kit. And of course, all 4 limited Battle Garage specific trumpets. These are 100mm for the blacktop 20 valve. They look so good. And for some reason, I got one of these out of the box and one of these inside the kit. So I just got 2 randomly, but these are for the extended 4th cylinder plug lead. So the stock ones won't reach all the way to the front relocation, so they sell an extra one. I'm not sure what this is off of or if it's custom made, but it's probably off some kind of V6 Toyota that has the same style plug. So it's going on there as well. In this first bag, this is everything you need, obviously, to fasten the distributor kit to the engine. It's a new pilot bearing for the transmission, because obviously this engine never came with a pilot bearing, being a front-wheel drive. This is a MRP manual timing belt tensioner, because I read that the factory ones have a tendency to fail, and these are interference engines. Front and rear main seals, the hardware for the Piper Cross filter, and the trumpets. And this is a oil filter spacer unit, so that I can get rid of this mess down here and just use my sandwich plate from Mishimoto and not the factory Toyota one. This is a panic wire stock ECU plug and play wiring harness for the 86, and it is beautiful. All the connectors look great. This is just a adapter harness for the 86 alternator to the original AE111 alternator. I'm not sure which one I'm going to be running yet, so I just had him throw in a adapter for me. Beautiful, looks great. It's my first time kind of looking over it. I have to figure out how everything goes. Wiper plugs integrated as well, and everything's integrated nicely here. This ground plug, the factory ECU plugs, and then the 14-pin 86 chassis harness connector in there. Looks great. Diagnostic port inside just for cleanliness. And a relay as well down there. So everything is designed to be, I don't know how to describe it. You can tug on these and it won't pull the wires directly from the plug. These zip ties are designed so that everything is stress-free on this side of the harness. This is all done beautifully. Anyway, it's going to look great when it's installed, but I just wanted to get my hands on it right here and go through everything. If you got a project car and you want it done right, go through panic wire.
Protect Positive Squad.
Alright, so I'm in the middle of installing the SQ Distributor relocation kit, and this is the plate obviously bolted on. On SQ's website it says this kit comes with detailed instructions on how to install it, and then you get these detailed instructions and then it says please email us. So thanks a lot. So this goes in next after the plate gets bolted on. There's these two pins here which go on to this opening right here so that it obviously rotates with the camshaft. So make sure those are oriented the right way. Okay, so that's good. Alright, putting the timing belt on now. Make sure I Toyota logo facing out. There's no real trick to this part, obviously. If you've done a timing belt, this is a very, very simple one. Alright. Just routed that on there. Push it all the way back. So down here's the MRP tensioner. So just tighten that up. And it is fail safe pretty much, at least I hope. So that gets tightened, and then this is the part I have to measure off of this 16 valve, this belt play on this side. So I don't have that too loose or too tight, because if it's too tight it snaps, if it's too loose it skips. Alright, so I just tighten up that belt and everything looks good. This lock nut's in place, made by MRP. And I have a new bearing on the way. I just, don't mind replacing it in the car. It's just back ordered. So I measured the belt on that engine there, and it's about 3/4 to 7/8 of an inch of play, and that's exactly what I have here. So that's good. All right, so after that, the rotor is bolted on. I just, in order to tighten the bolt right here, I just had to put the crank pulley on, just so I could lock up the engine and tighten this to spec. So little round piece goes in the back of the rotor, and then these two Allen bolts here. And then that's tight, 14 there, and then the H5 Allen is tight as well. So everything's good there. And then the distributor goes on. 8 mils go all around, just like it normally would. So honestly, it's around this point in the video where everything just goes completely off the rails. Filming becomes maybe 50% of the time I should have. I was just getting really, really excited to hear the engine start for the first time. So at this point, everything was connected to the engine that needed to be in order for us to try to start it for the very first time. So here we go, let's see what happens. Alright, so I've been waiting for this for over a month now, and it's finally here. Apparently, something going on in the world. A lot of people are like coughing and got like a stuffy nose and stuff, and it's been affecting shipping times internationally. So that's kind of weird. But this is the SQ Engineering 20 valve water relocation kit, which is essential to doing a proper 20 valve swap into an 8.6. Requires no firewall modification at all. And this is a slimline water neck that goes on the back of the cylinder head there, and all of the necessary parts to adapt the heater core and make sure that the water routing is perfect. So I think the last clip was installing the clutch and flywheel and stuff and dropping the engine into the car. I've done that numerous times on the channel, so I figured I'd save some time there by not showing it. It's just an engine going into an engine bay, but obviously it's an A series engine, so everything fits really well. The transmission's on, put the headers on, and just a couple of connectors and stuff. Nothing really specific to the swap. I know this is supposed to be, I'm trying to make this into a detailed 20 valve swap. So I have this connected as well with a little vacuum hose there to stop wire chafing. Toyota has a couple of different variations of these ignition wire connectors here. So M, F, B, K, J, and they all face a different way. So I went to the wrecking yard and I found out that they're different, and these are the ones that made the most sense for the routing to fit perfectly for the swap. We found out that you have to reverse the firing order essentially, because you're moving the distributor to the front as opposed to the rear. So it's cylinder one, which is the first one here, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what you want to route them as. And let's see, 4, so this is the new wire that you have to buy or make yourself somehow. Anyway, that's all connected and it's looking really nice. I, of course, obviously have to cut this, and I wanted to cut it a little extra so I can actually access all 3 of the distributor cap bolts. It's a little ugly. Anyway, so I haven't really done much else besides trying to figure out some vacuum and breather hose connections here. So it looks like a lot has been done between clips, but really nothing else is connected besides like those hoses and like this fuel line temporarily. This is an AE102 fuel line. You have to get a different fuel line because the 20 valve one is routed in a inappropriate way for this swap, I would say, because it kind of angles down to suit a front wheel drive application. It doesn't interfere with the throttle actuation at all. There's a little plate here. I'm not sure if you could see that. There's a little plate that moves up with the throttle bodies. I'm sure you can cut that back, but I didn't really want to cut it. The fuel line comes out directly above it, so you don't want any sort of interference with that at all. And that's why you want to get a different fuel line that comes out sort of straight. And this kind of bends down to allow the plate for the pipe across filter to adapt to. So that kind of sits behind there, nice and flush. And I've checked it and it clears that little plate right there behind the fuel line. So it's all kind of, I don't know. I'm like 80% happy with it. Might try to find a better solution, but it works for now. And I just had this fuel line from the 16 valve. Part of the water relocation still has to be done. There's a little outlet here, which has to get bolted onto the cylinder head in the front, a little water neck, and then I have to put the hose end on here for the water pump. That kind of goes along here and goes to the back. There is a block off plate you need to put here for the original top water neck. And then on the back of the cylinder head is where the bypass plate goes, which is all part of the kit. Anyways, I'm gonna get to installing some stuff. Pretty excited. Been waiting a month for all this stuff. So this is the last piece I need to get it on the road. Also, if you're smarter than me, you would remove these studs, this one here and that one there, before you install the engine. I just sort of assumed that the kit would use these studs, but it wants you to use 3 bolts that they supplied. So I'm kind of an idiot. So I guess I have to uninstall those, which is going to be a nightmare with that much room. Then under here is where that water neck goes. which is on the opposite side of the original orientation for the front-wheel drive setup. Pretty simple, comes with a gasket and everything, and just reuse the 2 nuts that came on the original one. And it comes with this 90-degree fitting with a barb on the end pre-installed, and which goes right here on this thermostat housing. Pretty sure the way to do this is to just slide it onto the water pump, then bend the hose onto the barb, kind of like that, and then just slide it on. I don't know if that was in focus or not, but you get the idea. So that barb from the water neck goes into the thermostat housing, and then the straight hose from the water pump. Really, really clean design. I like it, and there's some more support for this, which will come in a second. As far as it just kind of hanging here, there is an extra bracket and a way to tie it on to the actual engine. So anyways, obviously then after that, just slide these hose clamps up, tighten them down, and you're all done. So now we're moving on to the thermostat sort of water neck, which usually bolts on right here. It's a little bit of a problem with the 20 valve because this plate goes here, and there's a bunch of shit in the way, but mock it up later once we're all kind of done here with all the wires and hoses and stuff. But this blocks any access to bolt on this trumpet here, and it just doesn't work. So all I did was put a little union spacer here in this hose, the let's say driver side of the heater core, bolted it down here with a little union, and then just screwed it on to the barb down here, and it's pretty solid. This is a little, I'd say it's like a 45 section of hose, and there's no kinks, so it should work. It's, you know, not what I wanted to do. I'm sure there's a way to run this so you can run the factory hoses still, because this is all sort of using 16 valve original hoses. This uses the stock lower hose, this thermostat outlet here, and then you just kind of slip this on here, and then that kind of replicates this on the old 16 valve, which is your top water neck, and it's just a cleaner solution. Yeah, so that's probably the next part, but that was the biggest hurdle. This took a lot of time to figure out how I wanted to do this. So now I can kind of get this back on here, the breather for the idle speed control valve, tighten that up in a second. I just want to make sure that I don't have to route any wiring in between here before I throw the clamp on. So that's where that goes, and it bolts. That hose goes down to this idle speed control valve down there, and then there's a plug on it, which is this yellow thing. Alright, so getting on to more simple things. This is just the block off plate that goes right here, the side of the cylinder head. It's pretty annoying because it didn't come with a new gasket, so luckily I kept this one, and it's in pretty good shape. So yeah, also annoying is that it uses H5 Allen bolts instead of H6, which the rest of the kit does. So anyways, just nitpicking, and pretty simple. 2 bolts right there, job done. There it is installed, so I'll just watch that for leaks in case this original gasket isn't good. Yeah, so pretty much sums it up. All that's left to do now is throw this hose on here, water neck on the side, and then I don't think I have anything else in the kit besides this that straps the lower hose, which is this one here, to this bracket, which goes on to the block on the bottom, and then on the top of the ITBs. That bracket that holds the hose, the lower radiator hose, is bolted onto the lower engine mount bracket, and Lower hose fits great into the radiator. I did put the radiator in also. And top hose and temperature sender adapter. And then all the way through here, that's clamped on. And then this clamp is just so it doesn't kink. I was having a little bit of problems with it kinking because I kind of have to run this at a pretty aggressive angle in order to fit the plate, and it does clear. So now I'm gonna start, first I'm gonna make sure I didn't forget anything down here, and then plugging in all these wires, and everything has a home, and there's no way that you can plug something into the wrong connector. So super simple. There's about 8 or 9 of them I have to connect down there. So let's get to it. Boom, there it is, Battle Garage limited 100mm stacks for the blacktop and the pipe across filter plate adapter here. Now that the heater core lines are back there and joined together to join up to that custom water bypass plate, it's all looking pretty good, except for this subwoofer wire, which is pretty red. Everything under here is all done. Knock sensor plugged in. Got that BSV plugged in there with the green and orange wire. Everything looks good. And I got the accessory belt on, Gates belt, and about midway through the tensioner. And the reason I like the 20 valve accessories is because it has this actual tensioner wheel here, which you can just zip up with that 14 right to the left of the water pump pulley there. And that's way nicer than the 16 valve with only the water pump and alternator attached to the belt routing. Radiator, looking a little bit sorry for itself. It's a stock one, but it's never given me an issue, so I thought I might as well save some money and just reuse it, cleaned it out, and it's looking really good. And you know, this only has like 15 or 20,000 miles on it anyway, and it's not even discoloring yet. So yeah, save some money there. Top hose goes down here, water temp sender adapter, and AE102 fuel line hooked up to this fuel filter. Here's where I mounted the igniter to basically the strut tower on the side. So that's pretty cool. That should also double as a ground if it needs to be grounded. Air temp sensor, which I robbed from the daily driver, of course. So that's there, and it's pretty close to the filter, which is, you know, as close as I could feasibly get it to simulate the air temperature going into the stacks. So, charcoal canister here, and I kind of had to reroute that a little bit to go here. We got full range. The ITBs, still have to sync them though. Apparently that's pretty important. Let me know. I gotta look up a guide on how to do that. Breather line to the back of the valve cover. Distributor plug is in, and the ECU water temperature sensor's plugged in. And I still have to figure out if I want to cut this plug or not for the dash, but it's alright because I have this. Well, that is it for this video. We got the engine started and in the car, and everything is going good. In the next video, we're going to be fixing some major post-swap issues and also putting in a lot of upgrades to the car. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Subscribe and all that shit, and whatever. Next video is going to be in a couple days as opposed to a week. I'm a little behind schedule, so look forward to that. We're also going to be driving the car and doing some street tuning, so it's going to be awesome. So look forward to it. Thanks for watching. Also, check out the store and buy some stickers. Buy some stickers.